Morning. Morning, Paul.
Good afternoon, Richard.
Morning. It's morning in my world.
It might be.
Well,
Yeah.
I had a lie-in this morning. It was unbelievable.
You did, yeah.
Unbloody believable.
Well, you got up at like 9:30.
Well, I woke up early, went to the loo, as one does. And then I got back to sleep, and you know the reason why I got back to sleep, Paul?
Because I wasn't snoring.
Exactement, as they say in France. Yeah, you weren't snoring, so I managed to get back to sleep. Why weren't you snoring, Paul?
I think I was awake.
Oh. So actually, I do feel, I feel relatively good now. It's midday.
Oh, there we are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do. I'm glad.
I feel as though half the day has gone already. Yeah, and I've still got to do a segment for Week at the Plot, close that off and do the editing, and I've made soup already, so that's good. Yeah. What have you done? Beautified yourself. Yeah.
Well, I did do a little bit of moisturisation because I was feeling a little, in need of a little...
skankiness.
Just a little glow. I think I've achieved that.
You always glow, baby. It's your inner heart radiating warmth and compassion to all and sundry.
No, it's cold and dead.
Yeah. Yeah, he said yesterday, he was sitting at his desk, he said, why are my feet cold? Why are my feet cold? They're always cold. And I said, it's your dead, dead heart. Yeah. And that's so true, isn't it?
It's good to know where one stands in life. So, silence! God, honestly. So, welcome to the show.
Sunday Chat!
That's right, let's get it over and done with right now. So, first of all, I want to say a few thank yous. I want to say thank you to those of you who've recently purchased recipe cards and photographs from our coffee shop. The link is in the description below.
I did love the dogwood leaves. I thought they were rather beautiful.
Yeah, I was very happy with the dogwood leaves, and a couple of people asked me if it was going to be available in the shop, so I made it available for you to purchase,
There we are.
which was lovely. Thank you. I also want to say hi to new subscribers who've recently joined us. Hi, you know who you are. Yeah. Welcome, bloody welcome.
They look sort of fresh, don't they?
Fresh and new.
Yeah, not sort of old and tired of us.
Jaded.
No.
So, thank you very much. And also I'd like to say a big thank you to Sharon. Sharon has gifted us this incredible big baking collection, 10 step-by-step recipe books. And with the amount of fat and sugar contained within this, I may as well just strap this to my body, because that's going to be the extra weight that we'll be carrying after we've cooked all of these dishes.
Was it Arabian Nights? Was
Size of an elephant.
Yeah, oof, like that used to go. Yeah.
No, seriously though, this is incredible. I've looked through all of them, and there are loads of things that I'm interested in cooking. Gorgeous bakes, gorgeous cakes, pastries, you name it, it's in here.
And you did find out that so far most of the baking that you've done comes from the children's section of this, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, I looked at the Baking for Kids book, and I thought, I've cooked that. I've done that one.
I've done that.
And then I suddenly realised, all my baking is childlike. No sophistication here, I'm afraid.
No.
So thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. It was incredibly generous of you, and we love it.
And thank you for the bag. I got very excited by the bag. Yeah.
The lovely bag that it came in. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
We do love a tote.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You can't get enough of a tote bag, really, can you?
No.
I didn't mean that. I meant
you can't have enough.
You can't have enough tote bags.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, you haven't been doing anything naughty with them. No.
What?
No.
What?
Was that what you meant? Did
No.
my mind went to the gutter?
Yeah, of course it did.
It always does.
Anywho, it's been another
And also thank you to Vivi as well. Did you write that down?
No.
No, he didn't write that down. Vivi has sent me some of her Gardener's Delight tomato seeds. Because next year, I mean, her garden this year has done so well. And considering that she only started it in April, in fact, considering that she's had a garden at all this year, it's done amazingly well. And then she also only started it in April. Amazing. But her tomato plants, her Gardener's Delight tomato plants, were so fabulous, weren't they?
Full, just
Absolutely.
dripping in fruit.
And the stalks were so strong on the plants. I mean, they were really, really strong, really strong tomatoes. So next year we're going to be sowing these together, not as a competition thing, but to see how her seeds do in her garden and at our allotment. So yeah, it'll be interesting to do that. So thanks very much for those, Vivi. A highly scientific experiment coming up in this growing year, which for me started on the 1st of October. If you want to watch that video of my growing year last year, October to September, that's up now as well. So there we are. Yes. Yeah.
Is it a new one?
Yeah.
Well, I'll put a little link in then. So lovely. We usually kick off with Richard and Paul's weather report, and I was going to say it's been another very fast week this week.
It has.
Gone in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, it
Hasn't
does. It does seem to have vanished. It seemed to be Monday and then it was Friday. It just sort of went like that. And in terms of the weather, it's been relatively mild. We've had temperatures above 10 degrees overnight. It's been mild, but it's really felt cold.
Well, you know why.
Particularly Thursday and Friday.
You know why, Paul?
Humidity.
It's been in the 70s, 75% humidity, which is just making things feel really sort of slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We've had that dehumidifier on, haven't we,
in
Paul?
the house, yes, and it has made a difference.
It does.
It really does. One of our friends who now lives in Hastings, she was saying, you know, why is my outside temperature saying it's 18 degrees, but actually inside I'm cold and it feels like 7 degrees. And I went back and I said, you know, it's that time of year where there's that switch around. The humidity really does make it feel cool now. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool and uncomfortable, and you get into bed at night and the sheets are cold and it's almost like they feel very slightly damp.
Yeah.
Which is horrible. So we've been moving that dehumidifier around the house, trying to just draw some of that air, and it worked really well yesterday in the middle room. It was almost half a tank of water.
Yeah.
You know, so they do work. And we do use them. And actually, fact, they don't use too much electricity.
No, they don't.
Either.
It really doesn't. And Which is a magazine, a sort of consumer magazine over here that is all about sort of money saving and also quality of products. It does an awful lot of product testing, and its recent posts we noted yesterday are all about putting a fan on your washing and also a dehumidifier by your washing, which you were talking about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
I was talking about the fan, using a fan a while back, and the nasty comments that I got about...
Really?
It was just ridiculous because the video did quite well and it was only a very short video, but I got some really sort of aggressive, nasty comments about how it wasn't going to work and how it was going to make the house damp. I've been doing that for a few years now, using the fan, And it doesn't increase any dampness at all. It simply acts as a breeze on your indoor washing, as long as you've got a window cracked open a little bit, you know, and a good bit of ventilation.
And of course we have a Victorian house as well, you know, so these houses were made to breathe. They've got air bricks, there's, you know, a chimney here as well. There is actually still the remnants of a chimney in the other room. Both our bedroom and the bathroom, they had fireplaces at one point as well that went up. So these houses are made to breathe. Nowadays, I think an awful lot of houses are sort of insulated to the nth degree and are sealed in. And I really, you know, you hear much more now about mould growing and you know, fungal things in new properties.
Because there's no ventilation.
Yeah, and basically our homes in the UK in particular, I think, are not being built for the future. You know, we know where climate is going and the climate changes are going, and builders do not appear, I do not think, to be making changes to how they build things.
Well, I think I think they're just doing things as cheaply and as quickly as possible, because there is a housing crisis in the UK.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, you know, they're literally just churning them out, which is why there have been so many mistakes and problems with over-insulated properties that get far too hot in the summer because there's no method of cooling them down. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anywho,
Did we do the weather?
Did
we talk about the weather
a little
properly?
bit. Yes, I said about
I mentioned the words grey blanket.
No, you didn't mention the
No,
word
I didn't.
grey
And
blanket.
we have had a grey blanket.
Yeah.
But it's broken up a little bit today.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite surprised about, Paul.
Yeah, it wasn't forecast. But the other day we went on a trip to the Chilterns, which is in Richard's vlog.
Yeah.
And it was such a perfect day, it really was. And we set off, and I could see the moon on just above the horizon. It was like a ghost moon. It was so gorgeous, and the blue sky and the sun was out. It was just lovely. And then 20 minutes into our journey, the grey blanket came down, and that was it, wasn't it, for the rest of the day?
And yeah, most of yesterday, in fact all of yesterday, and this morning, but now it seems to be lifting a little bit. And of course high pressure is in charge at the moment, which means everything's fairly calm.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for cloud to shift. So that's the weather.
And next week sort of continues much of the same.
Grey blanket.
Though by the end of the week, I think in London we're beginning to dip just to 9 degrees overnight. So those temperatures are definitely beginning to come down now, I think.
I didn't drink all of my tea, Paul.
Oh well, never mind. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, it's out of reach. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Trying to move it.
Yeah, you trying to magic it? Yeah. Do you want me to get it for you?
Please.
Please.
Thank you, Paul.
There we are.
Oh, it's cold now.
Well, you can use your magic to warm it up, can't you?
Done.
Oh, I'm a bit sniffy now.
I had a sneezing fit earlier.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear that.
This time last year, it was much sunnier and very mild.
Yeah.
We went on a walk to Boston Manor.
We did, yeah. That was a year ago.
That was a year ago.
Gosh, that was a really nice walk, and we've said
we'll do it
before.
again.
We should do it again. Quite nice with the coloured leaves at this time of year, I think. We would get the bus down to Boston Manor Park and then go have a look and walk around Boston Manor Park, and most probably go in the house again, wouldn't we?
Yeah, most probably have a coffee and a cake.
Yeah, and then cross over the canal and walk back.
Yeah.
So
but if we do, we'll take you along. Pardon me. So, in the news this week, it's been quite a week, certainly in politics. Let's talk politics, Paul.
Ooh.
Now, I mean, I don't want to get into heavy politics, don't worry. However, I am absolutely loving the new Green Party leader.
Yeah, chair.
Zach Polanski.
Yeah.
You know what? He's telling it like it is.
Yeah.
He's the first politician in years and years and years that has actually had the guts to come out with the truth about the situation in Gaza, about the situation with the cost of living crisis in this country. He's not afraid to swear.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, that's what we need. People who are real, unlike Chemical Babadook.
Yeah.
As I call her, the Conservative leader, who the other day in that interview that they showed on Have I Got News For You, she was talking about being a swot at school and about...
calling somebody out for cheating.
Yeah. I mean, I bet she was the most popular girl in the school. Not. But it just...
She said she stood up in an examination
and shouted cheat.
And pointed out somebody who was cheating. So yeah, Miss Popular, clearly.
But that, you see, to me, that just shows, you know, the ordinary person on the street. Of course, nobody likes people who cheat, but the ordinary person on the street has more in common with somebody that cheats a little bit, or, you know, the bank robbers. You know, when somebody robs a bank, kind of part of you says, yeah, well done, you got caught, but hey. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like you sort of have an affinity with the man on the street, the underdog, the person the person who has struggled all their life and, you know, I don't know, robbed a bank and made some money. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like the rebel at school, you know.
You were a bit of a rebel at school.
Well, I was a rebel at school, but...
Yeah, that's why. I was goody two-shoes. I had two shoes and both of them were good.
But I don't know, there's something about the struggle that people have to make a bit of money, to maybe do a couple of deals on the side and, you know, have a hustle, blah, blah, blah. They don't like any of that.
Well, no, they only like it if it's the multi-millionaires and billionaires doing it. You know, when the Conservatives were cheating on all of their expenses as MPs and all of that, you know, they get a slap over the wrist and blah, blah, blah. Of course, now that sort of polarisation has happened a little bit in the political situation in government now and in the House of Commons, they're much more for calling other people out, even though they were doing far, far worse things, you know. But, yeah, there we are.
I don't know, I just don't think the man on... What I'm trying to say is I don't think the man on the street likes a politician that is being holier than thou.
No, absolutely.
And sort of putting themselves on a pedestal. I'm a goody two-shoes. I'm so good that I'm going to be the best politician ever, which is all a lie. You know, I don't know.
Anyway, going back to the Green Party.
However, Zach...
I mean, I loved it. I've seen a clip.
great.
I haven't watched Question Time over here, which is yet this week, which is a program, a sort of weekly program where politicians and other people. It's a delivery. You say that every time there's a noise outside. It's on a program. It's you've thrown me now. What was
Question
it?
Time.
Question Time.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a political program where the audience get to ask questions of politicians and other people who are sort of known, if you see what I mean. And it was really good. And he called out fascism this week, which I think needs to happen. You know, let's stop talking about the far right wing as being the far right wing. It is fascism. You know, it's one step away from being a Nazi. So, you know, let's actually call it out for what it is.
Well, you know, the argument that people have had in the past have been things like, well, the Green Party won't know how to run a country. They've never been in power. The ones running the country don't know how to run the country. Hello?
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think the way economies around the globe used to work, the big beating economies that kept the world going, they just do not work in that way anymore. We cannot have perpetual growth driving the economy. It's just not going to work anymore. It really isn't. I mean, there was who was it that somebody was interviewed? I think it was a big plane manufacturer in America. The CEO. The CEO had something like a 40% pay increase in a year. He was earning something like $35 million and had been given a 40% pay increase. However, the average pay increase for all the machinists and the people working on the shop floor was 1% over 7 years. The CEO's salary had gone up 40% in 1 year.
Yeah, all right, you've said that now.
Well, this is just ludicrous. You've got people getting richer and richer and richer and richer off the work, the actual work of working people. It's ludicrous that anybody now should have to have additional jobs as well as their full-time job to be able to get by. Not to be able to have a good life, but to be able to get by. It's insane.
Yeah, but there are plenty of things that are insane. The pure fact that energy companies put up the prices in winter is, as far as I'm concerned, obscene. It really is. I know that it's a supply and demand, and that's how business kind of works. But it's obscene.
Yes, but this is interesting actually, because when you start talking about global trade, all of these big energy companies are now global companies. So actually, when it's getting cooler in one area of the planet, i.e. the northern hemisphere, it's warming up in the southern hemisphere. So actually, if you're talking about global trade and benefiting from global trade, shouldn't the consumer also benefit from global trade? So instead of putting the price up in the northern hemisphere and lowering the price in the southern hemisphere, let's just keep prices on a balance. And then you don't have this sort of up and down and up and down. Many corporations talk about the global benefits of trade. Actually, it's not hitting the consumer. That's the thing.
And also the good thing about Zach Polanski is actually turning around and talking about taxing the wealthy.
The super rich.
The super rich, but taxing their assets. Because one of the arguments is if you tax the super rich, they're going to leave. And he's turned around and said, well, they can't take their assets with them.
Yeah, very often they can't. I mean, you can move a company and have it elsewhere. That's another thing that should be done. I mean, for Amazon, I've said this before many times. Put a tax on the amount that they turn over in the UK, not on profits, because they siphon profits. Corporations siphon profits to tax efficient places around the world. Actually put a tax on the turnover of that company.
But his example was, the Duke of Westminster owns most of Mayfair. He can't take Mayfair to Spain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or wherever, to other countries.
Yeah.
But
tax the rich, it's something that I have been saying for many years. Tax the rich and give people who are actually working a decent standard of living for the work that they do.
That's right, and let them drink until 2:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, this is...
To open the pubs till 2:30 in the morning to support growth, and to also support all those people who have a problem with alcohol.
So
and antisocial behaviour.
What they're saying is that they're going to basically extend the licensing hours in the UK to the early hours of the morning, so that instead of pubs and restaurants and shops and things stopping serving alcohol around 11 o'clock, I think it is, that it will be like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So this will be across the board. It will be pubs and it will be restaurants, but it'll also be corner shops and off licenses and petrol stations and things like that. And it's
shops,
just insane.
Shops can stay open 24 hours. There are
They
plenty
can't
of
serve alcohol unless they have a special license to serve it 24 hours.
Oh, right.
So you can only serve alcohol in a shop within licensable hours, which you know is why many off licenses close at 10:45, something like that. But they're looking at extending that. But of course, the problem with doing that to boost the economy, again, get growth, is that you'll also have a growth, as you say, in antisocial behaviour.
And also more of a strain on the NHS.
And alcoholism, which will bring about a greater strain on the NHS through alcoholism. But also, we all know that drinking excessive or significant amount, or even like a bottle a day, which some people do, that is not good for your body, and that's going to create additional claims on the NHS.
I just said that.
I know you have. I was just expressing why. Yeah, wow. So, yeah, honestly.
I mean, not really very well thought out.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all thought out. And the ridiculous thing is, in April, they brought in a higher national insurance premium to be paid by employers who employ the bar staff and the shop people and all of that. So they've already put the costs for those shops up. So, you're contracting the economy by doing that.
Well, I listened to a pub owner and he said it's all well and good saying we can open till 2:30, but unless we're full, we're actually spending more in overheads. If we're empty and got all the lights on and the heating and whatever else, it doesn't make any sense.
Insane.
Crazy times.
There we
also, in the news this week, I saw an article on the swag gap.
The swag, oh yes.
With couples.
Yes. Well, I'm high fashion, obviously. And Richard.
I think we have a swag gap, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is
your Coronation Street. I'm, something a bit higher.
Coronation Street. I think you'll find most of the people in Coronation Street are quite fashionable, Paul.
I haven't seen it for years.
I can't help having a natural sense of high fashion and taste and style. And you can't help looking like some kind of plot tramp.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting.
It was a ridiculous article. It really was.
Well, I mean, is it? Yeah, but actually, we are the sort of perfect example of this, because I don't care really what I look like.
Hashtag swag gap.
Yeah. Where you're always, well, usually, when we go out, you're preening yourself for like 2 hours.
When do we go out?
Well, when we go for a walk or something, you're preening yourself for a couple of hours before we go out.
I am, Paul.
Well,
I don't think I am.
Going for supper at a friend and you're having a bath at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to get ready to go out at 6.
I take 5 minutes to get ready, Paul, nowadays. I really do. 5 minutes.
When?
This morning.
Oh, you didn't. You're such a liar.
God,
It was an hour. It was an hour. He was upstairs sitting in front of the mirror going...
What, with my tongue hanging out?
Yeah, it was actually. It was.
I have never done that.
Where I went into the bathroom, so he was doing that for like 10 minutes, and I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I went like that.
Yeah, it
and
shows.
Done. Perfect hair, done. Yeah. Oh.
Shush now, Paul. God. Anywho, let's move on. A couple of things that we wanted to talk about. Paul, you mentioned the mill at Sonning.
Well, I love the Mill at Sonning. It's a dinner theatre place. It's really lovely. It's been independently owned without subsidy for very, very many years. But it had a really bad summer, and I think that's because of what we were saying earlier. You know, prices are going up, the costs are going up for people. So I think they've had a real struggle, and there was a campaign at the beginning of this month, beginning of October, that started about raising money for the Mill at Sonning. But actually a whole load of residents have got together in Sonning, which is a lovely village just outside of Reading, and they basically raised money to keep the mill going whilst fundraising goes on. And I think that's really fabulous, because it's somewhere I haven't been to for a very long time. But when I was with the Theatre Goers Club of Great Britain, we used to have our members going there every single week. There would be different plays on, and as I say, dinner was included, and it was always a lovely experience. And maybe it's something I'd quite like to do again. I think I might put it onto my radar and start join their mailing list, because I'm sure a show will come up that I'd really like to see. They used to do great sort of murder mysteries there. And I remember an Agatha Christie Spider's Web they did years ago, which I'd love to see. So yeah, the Mill at Sonning, lovely theatre, lovely little theatre, saved from possible closure.
Talking about events and theatre, the Great Green Barn, which we've mentioned many times before, there's a link in the description box right down at the bottom, has its new season starting. So I think the 18th of October is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, which is next Saturday.
So if you do live in the Surrey area, there are still tickets available. Why not treat yourselves to a spine-tingling evening?
I think we'll be doing the bar as well.
Well, yeah, I believe we will be there. So, yeah.
And then on the 1st of November, we've got Gerald Dickens back with The Signalman, Charles Dickens' most famous ghost story, I think.
Yes.
And also a piece called Sykes and Nancy, which I think is going to be rather good. So, yeah.
Which is, I think, guaranteed to terrify.
Yeah.
It's spooky season, people.
It is. It's coming up to Halloween.
And we've got plenty of spiders in the house. Have you noticed that big one in the kitchen?
I have. It keeps on popping out.
He was on the wall, or she, I don't know. Was on the wall last night when I was making cocoa.
Well,
I said hi to it.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yesterday morning, I came down about, 6:30, something like that. And the spider was playing peekaboo with me, because it was sort of by the fridge, between the fridge and the our sort of kitchen unit, our oven units, and every time I went to the fridge, it moved a bit. I'd sort of put the kettle on, go back to the fridge, it moved another bit, and then finally, by the time the kettle had boiled and the tea was made and I was pouring it out, I had a look and he'd snuck away underneath, I think, the cabinet. So yeah, I mean, it's quite. I mean, it's big for the UK. It's sort of like
it is quite big,
I guess,
but quite colourful.
Yeah, they are. They are. Yeah, and there's lots. I did say to Richard, if you go outside, be careful, because there is one that stretches right across the walkway that you have to go in through the garden. The sort of area you walk through, and it's sort of his head height, but it's not very visible because of all the greenery in our garden. It's
I do normally go out into the garden and go like this as I walk.
Right, it's like a robot.
Like a Terminator.
Yeah.
So let's move on, because this is too long already, this show. I tell you, you might be enjoying it, but it's going to take years to edit.
Oh, that's all right. You don't mind.
It's time for the intellectual part of the show, which is called Word of the Week. And this is taken from a word for every day of the year by Stephen Poole, gifted to me by Vivi Gregory of What Vivi Did Next and Vivi's Kitchen Garden Cottage by the Sea. So, let's see what today's word is.
What is
12th of October.
12th of October? Oh.
Okay, so the word is anfractuous. 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 Anfractuous.
I know what this is.
Oh, do you?
Well, I think I do.
What do you think it is, Paul?
I think it's fractious, of course, it's like fractured, breaking, that type of thing. I think it's twisty
Twisty
roads. Yeah, but I think it's sort of similar. I think it's like twisty roads and countryside. Something like that.
Let's find out if Paul is right. What is anfractuous, says Dr. Johnson. What is anfractuous, says Dr. Johnson, is winding, mazy, full of turnings and winding passages. From the Latin anfractus, a bending, this lovely word, one of those that seem to mime their own meaning, this is hard to read, has been applied to streets, mountain passages, and the fleshy whirls of the ear, among other things, including actual labyrinths.
Right.
Life itself, moreover, could hope for a few more accurate epithets than anfractuous. God, this is difficult to read. I don't even know what half of it means. The English poet and theologian Henry Moore, born on this day in 1614, has a character in his Divine Dialogues of 1668. Fear for the future.
Yeah, his dialogues
Has
of
a
that
character
fear for
in
the future.
Fear for the future. So intricate, so anfractuous, so unsearchable are the ways of Providence. Oh, jeez. Give you the ways of Providence.
So twisty-turny. Yeah, there we are.
Rudyard Kipling, meanwhile, employs the word as an amusing metaphor in his 1932 story Aunt Ellen, where a young policeman remarks, if police sergeants have been up all night on duty, they appreciate a run in the fresh air before turning in. If they've been hoiked out of bed ad hoc, they're apt to be anfractuous. One knows how they feel. Far too
odd, yeah.
Far too intellectual for me. And that brings us to the final segment of the show, which is, what have we watched on television this week? Let's start off with Barbie.
Oh,
the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I was rather enjoying Barbie, actually. And then it got into the real world, and I sort of enjoyed that. And then it sort of went away from itself, I think. And I think you fell asleep.
I did fall asleep. I missed the end. So it began kind of quite well. Thought it was really interesting, the sort of talk about Barbie. I think it was Helen Mirren doing the narration, wasn't it? And the talk about how successful Barbie has been and the different types of Barbie and all of that. And it was quite kind of fun and tongue-in-cheek.
And Ken, different types of Ken.
And Ken as well. And then we sort of met Barbie, and it was quite fun, you know, how she sort of floats through her world and every day is the same, and it was all very, you know, super colourful. And I thought the dance number was brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really good to watch, really, you know, eye-poppingly good.
Very pink, obviously.
Yeah, and the lighting, and, you know, it's rather beautiful to look at, mesmerising. And then she started having the weird thoughts about dying, and then we sort of, start the journey into the real world, and then,
Then it sort of went a little bit off kilter.
I don't know, it sort of just became meaningless. I preferred the whole sort of plastic, dreamy, psychedelic world. I was quite entranced by that. And I loved Weird Barbie.
Weird Barbie was fabulous.
Yeah, she was
great.
great.
And sort of Weird Barbie saves the day.
And
with Barbie. And
yeah.
Barbie.
Yeah,
And Barbie.
the other
And Barbie. Yeah.
But yes, so there were parts of it that were kind of entrancing, and the most part was really pointless.
One of our plotters did work on the production, I think doing makeup, and she did say that she didn't want to work on anything pink again for quite a long time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was all rather perfect.
Well, that was the whole point.
That's the kind of way that Barbie world is meant to be.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of escapism is kind of good to a point. I don't know. Yeah.
What else have we been watching?
So, we watched a documentary on the jet stream called The Jet Stream and Us on BBC4, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realise, and it's obvious when you think about it, that there's a northern hemisphere jet stream and a southern hemisphere jet stream, and I sort of didn't really...
So for those of you who don't know, the jet stream is a ribbon of air which is very high up, which is very fast moving and is responsible for lots of weather patterns and weather events in both the northern and the southern hemispheres. And it's the ribbon of air that is used by pilots to ride, to enable them to cut about an hour off the journey from America over to Europe.
So I think flying UK to America is about, 6.5, 7 hours, and the other way it's about 5.5, 6 hours, something like that. So it's faster coming back because they use the.
But I think the most interesting part of the story was that it was only discovered in the 1940s. We didn't know that this ribbon of air existed. Very interesting.
And it was basically discovered when America was bombing Japan, and the bombs weren't hitting where they were supposed to, and then they realised that the planes were travelling much faster than the planes were actually able to travel. And when they came back and sort of said this to everyone, they were told the crews and things were told they were liars. And were disciplined and things. Just insane. And then it turns out that actually, the jet stream is there, and it takes you 100 miles an hour quicker when you go, that way round. Yeah.
So interesting. We watched an episode of Madhur Jaffrey's Flavours of India. And it was really interesting because we like Madhur Jaffrey as a cook. We've watched a series of hers over the years, and this was kind of like a sort of...
first series, I think.
Yeah. And what struck us...
So what was that? That was late 70s, I assume.
No, it was the 80s.
Early
definitely.
80s then, yeah.
What struck us was the speed of the edits. It was so fast paced and crammed in so much. That half hour, whatever it was. It was really, really interesting to watch. And, she did a lot of travel in that.
She did.
Small space of time.
The one we saw was the Punjab region, and I think it had 5 or 6 recipes in it that were produced, and then all of this information about people in the Punjab and the Punjab region. It was incredible, and it was so fast paced. And then when a few days ago I looked at a Nigella Bakes or something episode which was so slow, and it had like 3 recipes in it, and they were stretched out, and lots of sort of looking at camera, and I looked at a Jamie Oliver episode of something as well, and again it just felt really sort of, long. I mean, it was just giving you the recipes, where Madhir Jaffrey, there was all that information about the Punjab as well, but that editing was so fast, wasn't it? Yeah, fascinating.
And it was interesting actually, because I also saw a really early episode. I think it was Judith Chalmers. A Judith Chalmers afternoon programme in the late 70s, early 80s. And Mary Berry was doing a cookery segment, and she was making a biscuit-based
cheesecake, was it?
lemon tart,
oh, right, yeah.
But it was digestive biscuits
Yeah.
as the base. And it was so thrown together, and it was so quick. It looked terrible, but literally thrown together, and you kind of really got a sense that she'd been told, right, you've got 3 minutes to do this. And she literally was crushing the biscuits, throwing them in the tin, throwing the mixture together, throwing that on, and it looked appalling.
Yeah.
And then funnily enough, I saw an interview with Mary Berry a couple of days later on This Morning, which is a morning programme in the UK, being interviewed about her early days on TV doing cookery, and how she had to bring everything from home. The pots and pans had to be from home. There was no proper setup as a kitchen. It was all fakery, and there was no running water and blah, blah, blah. And how challenging it was.
You said that water was pumped from a bucket or something, or a container.
To make it look as though it was coming out of the tap. Yeah. It was really interesting how cookery programmes have evolved.
Yeah, and there is. I did also read an article this week that the cookery programmes are now sort of on the decline. People are losing interest, and I suppose it's in some ways it's not surprising, because there's so many, there's so many things on YouTube and things like that. But also there's still so many people getting deliveries in our area, and I'm sure other areas as well. From restaurants and things. So. Yeah.
I think there's been a huge gap in knowledge. We've said this before. I think there's a huge number of people that actually don't know how to cook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or don't know how to approach a recipe, or, cooking something from scratch.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, because this is getting long. We watched June.
Yeah, I'm a great fan. I love June. I love the story. I love the books. Particularly June. But yeah, I love it all. So this was the part 1 of the new one with
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah. Chalamet, whatever. And
Timothée.
Really enjoyed it.
Isn't that a shampoo, Timothée?
Looking forward to the next one whenever that comes out. That was on ITV. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I'm afraid
he can give or take.
Just don't see the point.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
Yeah, he doesn't see.
Sorry, but I don't. We attempted to watch Murder Before Evensong. This is based on the novel by the Reverend Richard Coles.
Yeah, so Nettie bought me this book.
This is on Channel 5.
A few months ago. Thanks very much, Nettie. And I read it. I quite enjoyed the story. I found the writing a little bit difficult to get into, but I enjoyed the story. This adaptation, you just didn't. There were a few characters that were really defined. The rest, just didn't believe any of it.
No,
really.
I said to you, didn't I? I just don't believe them. And that really just did it for me.
Yeah.
Didn't carry on.
Yeah. It sort of didn't know whether it wanted to be a Father Brown or an Agatha Christie, if you see what I mean. And it sort of sat in between. So yeah, I didn't get on with it. We stopped watching it.
We had a lovely throwback to the 1980s. I was watching the other day an interview with Cassandra Peterson, who played Elvira. And I love Elvira. I've seen, bits and pieces of Elvira over the years, but I realised that I'd never actually watched the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, all the way through. And I said, I'd really like to just watch it because I like that kind of comedy. And so we watched it on YouTube. It's available on YouTube with adverts. And yeah, it's actually really light humour, but it's fun and a little bit saucy.
Well, it's quite saucy.
Well,
yeah,
it is quite saucy.
I mean, it's the closest thing I've seen that's been produced in America to our carry-ons. I laughed out loud quite a few times, and I really enjoyed it.
And what I love is that it was written by her, co-written by her. So all the sauciness comes from her. She's kind of exploiting herself, exploiting her assets, let's say, which I think is brilliant. But the interview I saw, she's 74, Cassandra Peterson, looks incredible. But it said, the interviewer said, why don't you do Elvira anymore? And she said, because I really can't be bothered. Do you know how much work it takes to get into that costume? It's super tight, it's super uncomfortable, all the makeup, and I'm quite sure everything has to be strapped up, So yeah, but really enjoyed it. It's fun, and of course it has some iconic lines that are used by RuPaul, like silence.
Yeah.
Like, how's your head? Yeah. Well, I haven't had any complaints. Which of course Pearl didn't get. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there you go.
And talking of RuPaul,
we continue with RuPaul's Drag Race on BBC Three, which is moving along. Still, I do.
The UK version.
I do find that there isn't anybody that's really sparkling for me.
No. I think they're all pretty good, but there's nothing. There's no one that you've got. Oh, I really like that person. I want them to win.
I think they're saving that for us.
Well, I think get on with it.
Because of course, no, because we haven't even got to Snatch Game yet.
No, we haven't.
And of course, Snatch Game is the moment in every RuPaul Drag Race season where they sort out the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
Let's say that. It is that pivotal moment. Have I Got News for You was on last night.
Pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Not as good as the first one, and I think, of course, these are filmed. They're filmed in the week, so they seem to start with a really good one, and this one wasn't quite as good, but yeah, enjoyable. So
there you go. That's it. That's it for this week's show. Let's say goodbye before it gets any longer.
Said the actress to the bishop. Yeah.
So take care. Toodle pip. Au revoir.
Are we going now then? Yeah.
I just said goodbye.
Are we going?
Several different languages, Paul.
I don't understand those languages. Yeah.
Bye for now.
See you next week for another exciting, scintillating, sexy episode of Sunday Chat.
Well, we'll see you in the week for cookery.
Yeah, but we'll
my vlog.
We'll see you together.
Bye.
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 Bananas.
Tits and bums.